Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Nate here. And Skyrim is a cold, dangerous land with conflict in every corner. But all that turmoil hasn't prevented this frozen northernmost province of Tamriel from becoming the home to innumerable furry creatures. Terrifying cave bears, beautiful butterflies, fluffy chickens, the Elder Scrolls V has an insanely diverse selection of wildlife indeed. And while most of Skyrim's animal population is just that, wildlife, untamed creatures that are either fearful or downright hostile towards mankind, there are a few critters we can bump into throughout our journey across this land that have been, well, domesticated, pacified to become friends and servants to their human and elven masters. Many of these four-legged friends are quite cute, or otherwise interesting, and some will even lend a hand, or paw, to the Dragonborn if you play your cards right. So in today's video, we'll be taking a look at 5 of the greatest pets featured in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Starting off, we have Gleda the Goat. We'll get a chance to meet this little fella during Sanguine's Daedric quest, A Night to Remember, wherein, following a mead drinking contest gone wrong, the Dragonborn awakes from a blackout, only to discover that overnight you committed a plethora of shenanigans, and will be forced to pick up the pieces. Well, evidently, one of the things the player did during that oh-so-difficult-to-recall night was steal a goat from one of Rorikstead's farmers, and sell her off to a giant. Midway through the quest, when we meet Ennis, the goat's original owner, he will be absolutely livid, stating that that goat you took, Gleda, was an extremely prized stock, and the Redguard will demand you march right up to the giant you sold her to and bring her back home. Alternatively, you can just offer to pay Ennis off for 1,000 gold so that he might forget the whole thing, but that's no fun. Anyway, after being scolded, you'll eventually find Gleda following around a giant named Gonk. Now, Gonk is non-hostile. He's one of the very few giants in the game that will not attack the player, no matter how close you get. However, in order to complete the quest, we're gonna have to steal Gleda from him. To do that, simply sneak up to the goat and interact with her, and she'll start following you. When Gonk sees this, then he'll turn hostile. So, sadly, chances are you're gonna have to murder him to death. Now, at this point, after Gonk's been slain, you'll be inclined to lead Gleda back to Rorikstead. But you don't actually have to, at least not right away, as the goat will follow you, acting as a companion indefinitely, until you return her. And this is where some real fun can kick in, as not only will the Dovahkiin now get to have a new, special furry friend for as long as you please, but as it turns out, Gleda will assist you in combat. Believe it or not, when you're attacked, the goat will come to your aid and help fight. This I found to be especially cool, as normally goats are entirely docile farm animals that will not enter combat under any circumstances, instead preferring to flee from any and all threats. But since Gleda considers you an ally, the goat will come to your defense. Now, let's not kid ourselves, Gleda is no warrior. Her attacks are on the weaker side of things, dealing around 5 to 10 HP damage per hit, though she is essential, which is a huge plus. Alas, all good things must come to an end. Eventually you're going to want to replace her, or at least continue on with the quest. So once you've had enough fun with your new buddy, simply bring her back to Ennis to complete this section of A Night to Remember. Overall, Gleda the Goat is quite possibly among my favorite allies, even if her support is only temporary and pretty conditional. But don't worry, this isn't the end of your friendship. You can always come back to the farm and visit her later on in any given playthrough. Next on our list, now that we've covered one dedicated yet admittedly harmless pet, let's shift our focus onward to one that is anything but the Battle Troll. Introduced as a potential follower with the Dawnguard DLC, players who decide to throw their hat in with the Vampire Hunters will have the opportunity to purchase one of these beasts at Fort Dawnguard. And man, are they something to behold. According to Gunmar, the man who trains and sells them to you, he came up with the idea of raising armored battle trolls when he was out in the wilds one day fighting a troll. and wondered what could be worse. An armored troll was his answer. Despite doing his best to pacify these beings and get them to follow commands, the Nord Hunter admits that his animals, or maybe monsters would be a better way of saying it, are far from completely obedient, and that he can't guarantee they won't just run off if left alone for too long. Gunmar also explicitly warns the player to be careful when bringing them around non-Dawnguard members, as he's really unsure how they'll behave. Gunmar even goes so far as to directly warn you against treating your battle trolls like pets, which is sort of contradictory to their inclusion in this video, but you get the point. Battle trolls are fierce, unpredictable allies. Once you've been given Gunmar's rundown and purchased one for 500 gold though, you'll find that they in fact make quite the dependable companions, and will lend a very helpful, if oversized, hand. Spawning in with a minimum 280 points of HP and 35 attack damage, rising to scale with the player's level, their ability on the battlefield is pretty fair, definitely a step up from Gleda. And you won't really need to worry about them freaking out on non-Dawnguard members. They will behave themselves in public. Though, if you do leave them alone for too long, there is a chance that they'll just wander off, despawning never to be seen again. So, watch out for that. Lucky us, Gunmar appears to have an infinite supply of armored trolls at his disposal. So no matter how many run off into the distance or fall in the heat of combat, you'll just be able to get another, provided you have the coin of course. Overall, these gentle, barely domesticated giants are certainly a unique ally, but that only makes them all the more memorable. Coming in at number 3, we've spoken a bit about this particular pet before in a previous video a few months back. However, he/she fits in with this video so perfectly, I just can't excuse not giving them a mention. At South Fringe Sanctum, a large cave in the frozen mountains south of Helgen, a clan of bandits referred to by the game as Spell Swords can be found. The Spell Swords are pretty cool foes, as they make equal use of magical and melee attacks, hence their name. They're not heavily involved in any major quests, nor offer much dialogue. But as you're hacking your way through this tribe, you may notice in one of the larger sections of the cavern, a small cage can be found sitting on the floor. Inside of it will be a tiny fox named Pumpkin. He's the Spell Swords' pet. Funnily enough, according to Pumpkin's AI data, he's actually considered to be a member of the Spell Sword faction, meaning he'll be hostile to the player if he somehow escapes his cage. He'll attack you, dealing a staggering 1 point of HP damage per hit. Oh, the humanity. Something you may not know about Pumpkin is that aside from being a fuzzy friend to a clan of bandits, his very existence seems to be a sort of running gag by Bethesda. You see, in Fallout 3, the game they developed right before Skyrim, Pumpkin was the name of a pet mole rat owned by Ryan Brigg. And in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which came out right before Fallout 3, Pumpkin was a stray dog that could be found wandering the wildlands around Rockmilk Haven in Cyrodiil. So, Pumpkin is far from the first domesticated creature in Bethesda's franchises to bear such a name. Sadly, no pumpkins appeared in Fallout 4 or 76. We can only hope that there will be some weird alien pet creature by the same name in Starfield. For 4th spot, I present 2 pets rather than just one, Skjoldung and Bron. I originally was a bit conflicted about including these pups, as we already featured one Dawnguard DLC NPC. But to hell with it, they're lovable huskies, and possibly some good thumbnail material. As mentioned, Skjoldung and Bron are 2 husky-like dogs the Dragonborn can meet at Fort Dawnguard. They're quite unique, in a bit that not only do they have an exclusive model and texture, but they're also the only dogs in the game to have their own sets of armor. Both don a specialized leather jacket, and it looks quite fetching on them, if I do say so myself. Either dog can become a follower if you've chosen to side with the Dawnguard. Not only will both animals level with the player, but they're also considered essential, so these are some fairly strong allies to have at your back. Interestingly, Their names, Skeolang and Bron, seem to reference an old Irish legend, specifically that of Fionn Mac Cumhaill. Yes, I know I terribly mispronounced that. An Irish hero who had two warhounds, named Skeolang and Bron. Assuming you have the Hearthfire DLC installed, if you visit one of your player homes with one of these dogs as an active follower and have children living there, that child may approach you and ask if they can keep either Bron or Skeolang. If you agree, that specific animal will begin to live out of your player home, turning it into a true pet. Not too much more to add about these adorable manifestations of man's best friend. I guess we're done barking up this tree. And finally, last on our list, we're going full circle and ending right about where we began, with another goat. Specifically, Lucky. He's a unique animal living in the village of Dragonbridge, with his owner, a Breton child named Clinton Lillavive. Lucky can most often be met following the child around as he walks throughout the town. When spoken to, Clinton himself doesn't offer much dialogue, however may passively remark that he dreams of one day becoming a soldier, and that he and his pal Lucky are practicing by patrolling their settlement, looking for evildoers. It's absolutely adorable. As night falls, both kids, fun fact, young goat males are also referred to as kids, will retreat into the home of Clinton's parents, where Lucky will spend the evening resting on the floor, before the sun rises once again and his schedule repeats. Now, chances are that this young goat probably won't be the soul that saves Dragonbridge from some massive assault like his owner is hoping, but Talos Almighty, does he not seem like the perfect friend for the time being? As you're probably aware, with the Hearthfire DLC installed, when both of a child's parents are slain, that child themselves will be sent to Honor All Orphanage in Riften, and become available for adoption. Assuming they didn't see you personally attack their family members. In the case of Clinton Lillavive, if he loses his family, well, he'll still end up going to Honor Hall. Lucky, his pet goat, will either completely despawn, or sometimes just kind of ruffle around Dragon's Bridge all by himself for the remainder of a playthrough. It seems the reason he sometimes stays in the town is related to a bug, but honestly I'm rather unsure. Whatever the case, Clinton's lovable playmate is easily among the most unforgettable goats in all of Skyrim. And with that, come on, say it with me now, we are going to wrap up my top 5 pets in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Now, I'm just gonna get it out of the way now. We barely got a chance to scratch the surface in this video. There's quite a few critters that we just could not fit in today. So sometime in the future, assuming this video doesn't do horribly, expect a part 2, and maybe even a 3 after that. Anyway guys, thanks for stopping by. Which of the animals that we took a look at today was your favorite? And which ones do you hope to see next? Leave a comment down below. As always, like ratings are very much appreciated. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Peace out everyone.